What up, what up, what up, New York Giant Nation and football fans all over the world? It is your boy, Mac the Giants fan. I got my guy, the super dope co-host, Adam Costas. You know what time it is. It's time for the real deal NFC East Round-Up. Punch that intro. Good afternoon. How's everybody doing out there, man? It is another edition on a special, different day than the usual Wednesday of the real deal NFC East Roundup. We are gonna, me and my guy Adam right here. We're gonna be breaking down this schedule. And how you doing today, Adam?
It is a great day. We're talking about the schedule. I am great. Thank you, Mac, for that fire intro that you always do. But we're going to get to talking some NFC East. And man, are there some games out there to talk about?
Yes, indeedy. The NFC East got a whole. I don't know how you're gonna look at it. You can look at it a couple different ways, but I feel like the NFC East has gotten a whole lot of respect with this schedule to an extent. Prime time games are aplenty, so that you're gonna see a lot of NFC East football on national TV this season. And I think that they deserve it after what they did, after what this division accomplished a year ago. Three teams in the postseason, all four teams finishing at least 500 or better. I mean, this division earned the respect they got with this schedule. This, like I said, they are all over the national TV scene this season, man. Prime, like I said, between the Eagles, the Cowboys, and the Giants, prime time games are plenty. And I don't know how you want to do. How you feeling, man? You want to just dive right on in, Adam?
I mean, let's not waste much time. I'm sure we won't waste time because everybody already knows about these games. We should probably just get into some of these teams and some of these marquee matchups. But one thing I will say is Mac is correct. We, the NFC East, dominate the primetime schedule. So that is something to think about.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we're gonna get started with the cream of the crop. I mean, let's face it, it's hard to say it and admit it, but it's the truth. They are the cream of the crop, the Philadelphia Eagles. We're gonna take it away, man, right from the top, man. This Philadelphia Eagle team is opening up week one on the road up in New England against the Patriots, man. How you see that one playing out, Adam?
This is when you said week one
Week one.
for the Eagles. Yes. Oh,
Eagles.
well, the Patriots are a funny team. I think the Eagles will win this game. I really do. I don't think the Patriots will be that much of a threat, but we'll see. Bill Belichick's going to be feisty, and it's interesting because these big time games are interesting because if they lose to an AFC East team, that could come back to bite them down the road, right? If the Eagles somehow end up with the same record, let's say Giants, Cowboys, Redskins, whomever, and they have the same conference division record, then they might look at the AFC East, the common opponent, right? And so for me, the Eagles have to get out to a fast start. I don't think they're going to have a Super Bowl hangover. I think they beat the Patriots out the gate. I'm not going to say a score, but I think they win.
I agree with you, Adam. I absolutely agree. The Patriots, I just don't think they have enough to keep up with what this Eagle team got going on, man. I think the Eagles come out the boxing with a big W on the road to get their season started. Week two, the Eagles will be hosting on a short week the Minnesota Vikings on Thursday Night Football. This team, we all know about this Minnesota Viking defense from a year ago, which was not very good, and they are up week two on a short week against a very high-powered offense in the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, I personally don't see Minnesota having much of a chance here, but they do. That's why they play the game. But I still think the Eagles come out of this one in their home opener on Thursday Night Football with a W here against the Minnesota Vikings.
Again, a good game. Another team, Minnesota, that was what 11 and not 11, yeah, 11-7, 11-6 or
No,
something
they
like
were
that. 13 and
no,
3.
they were like 13-4, bro.
Oh man, damn! Sorry, I got caught up with the stat of the 11 wins that they had by like 3 points or less. So that's what stuck out in my head. Man, what a tough game! What a tough game! I think the Eagles are going to win this game. I don't. I'm going to take the Eagles winning this game, just because I don't think they're going to lose their home opener. I'm sure they're presenting the trophy at that game, or they're going to have some ceremony for that game, to be raucous, to really usher in the new year as the NFC champs. I don't think they lose to the Patriots. The Vikings coming in. I think if this were a Vikings team that was established, maybe I'd give them a chance, but I think the Eagles are going to win this game. I think they're going 2-0. Hate to say it.
Yeah, that's what I got too. Week 3, back in prime time once again for the Philadelphia Eagles. On the road once again, down in Tampa Bay to play the Buccaneers. Expectations for the Bucks I don't think are very high amongst the most general NFL fans, but you never know what can happen here. But I don't really see I don't see them pulling off what would be to me a miracle and beating the Philadelphia Eagles, and I don't care where the hell they're playing at. I don't think them cannons are going to be shooting off too much down in Tampa Bay on Monday night in Week 3. I
Oh
think the
man,
Eagles are going to go down there and handle some business.
that's that's kind of funny that you said it's on a
I,
Monday night football game. It's like going to be the Monday Night Massacre on that one. My God, I mean, they don't even know who their starting quarterback is at this moment, and you're going to tell me that the Eagles, you know, here's the thing: if they lose to Minnesota, then there's definitely no chance for Tampa Bay. But even if they win, I don't think this team is going to let off the gas. I think 3-0. I mean, 3-0, 3-0. Tampa Bay got no shot. I'm sorry, they have no shot. I don't like Todd Bowles. I don't like their quarterback situation. They have no chance. The Eagles led the league in sacks. Well, they're going to probably lead the NFL in single game sacks with this one. I'm going to go out on a limb and say they harassed the quarterbacks in that game. 3-0.
I definitely agree. Definitely agree with you. 3-0, the Philadelphia Eagles as of right now. And we go down now. We get to a division rival for the Eagles Week 4. Division rival coming to Philly, the Washington Commanders. This could be a tricky game. Washington was, I believe, the first team to defeat the Eagles a year ago. So this could be a tricky game. Division games are always a little dicey. You never know what to really expect. But as of right now, at this point in the season, I don't think Washington will have their sea legs under them totally yet. I don't think they'll be where they need to be regardless. Quarterback situation is still a little bit dicey there. We don't know what to expect from Sam Howell. I think the Eagles pull off a W here Week 4 and against the division rival Commanders.
I am going to do something that's unprecedented right now. And
Ooh, let's go for it. Let's go for it.
the starting quarterback for the Commanders will be Jacoby Brissett. And he will upset the Eagles in Week 4 of the season. So the Eagles will start out 3-1 with a loss to the Commanders. I don't normally do this, but that is a limb. That's a shot there.
Woo! My guy, my co-host. That's why he's the super dope co-host, y'all. Adam Costas predicting a big upset Week 4 in Philly. They get saying the Jacoby Brissett led Washington Commanders are going to take down the Eagles. I mean, well, we'll see. I can't feel as bold as him right now on that one. I got to stick with my guns on that one. I'm gonna still think the Eagles going to handle their business and go to 4-0.
I just think this is going to be one of those games
But
where it's a fluky game, right? A fluky game. And I think somehow the Commanders will pull off some weird upset. That's what they have. I mean, last year we didn't expect them to beat them in Philadelphia, and they beat them in Philadelphia, right? So we'll see. I don't know. I just think Jacoby Brissett, probably out duel Sam Howell to save Ron Rivera's job, he needs a competent quarterback, a guy who won't, spit the bit when the fan hits. And there it is, Jacoby Brissett taking the Commanders and upsetting the Eagles that 1 week. Now I don't know what's going to happen later on, but that's early on in the season. This is where you get your upset.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. I would love to see that happen, Adam. I don't know. I just can't. I can't.
I'm probably
I can't
gonna have
mess
egg. I'm
with.
probably gonna have egg on my face, but why not have some fun, right? Why not have some fun?
Hey, man, this is what we're here for, man. These are the way too early predictions right now. We have no idea how these things are going to shape up
So
right now,
if
shake
if
out.
I'm
We do
correct
not.
right
There's
now,
so much more stuff to go on.
you have the Eagles at 4-0, and I have the
Yep,
Eagles at 3-1. So let's just keep the numbers going, folks, in case just to see where our records end up with the team.
it's good, NYG. That's right. I got Eagles at 4-0. You got them at 3-1. Week 5, Eagles are back on the road. They're just back and forth, right on back on the road, taking a trip out to the west coast of sunny California. Take on the LA Rams team that I have no idea what to think about this football team, honestly. They were horrendous a year ago. I don't see the changes they made this offseason that's going to make them much better, but yeah, they're still a well coached football team, and if the injuries bug doesn't kill them like it did a year ago, you never know what to expect from this football team. But I still also, once again, do not think they have enough juice to keep up with this Philadelphia Eagle team as things stand right now. So I don't know, Adam, how you see this one?
5-0, you're going. I'm going 4-1 here. I don't think they're gonna. If it was San Francisco, I would have probably put another. I would have hung another loss up on there. But they're going to LA. They're going to bounce back after getting upset by the Commanders. They bounce back and go 4-1 here against the Rams. Although the Rams are kind of intriguing. We'll
All
get into
right.
that later.
And once again, the Eagles will be remaining on the road week 6, but they will
Right,
be
yep.
to a very familiar stadium up in MetLife Stadium, not to take on the New York Giants, but to take on the New York Jets, a team that people have a lot of very high expectations for this season. But I think that they got to still prove it to me first. I think this is going to be a great, intriguing matchup. Two teams that I think are going to be able to put up a lot of points on the board. Two very good quarterbacks. This is going to be a marquee quarterback battle, as a matter of fact. Just put that out, a marquee quarter. Jalen Hurts, Aaron Rodgers. This is as good as it gets almost in the league, across the league, man. But I think the Eagles will pull off a close win here. I think the Jets will take them right down to the wire. But I think the Eagles are going to pull off a close one here
Oh man, this is
and
another
move
one of
to
those
6 and
games.
0.
This is another one of those games where I'm tempted because I think the Jets are flying under the radar in my eyes because of who they are. They're the Jets, right? So what I mean by that is people just have this already underlying, you know, idea of who they are. They were in a lot of their games last year, and their only problem was their quarterback, right? So now you give Aaron Rodgers a top 5 defense, right? You give him weapons such as Garrett Wilson, Lazard, Nicole Hardman, Brees Hall, right? And that new revamped offensive line, who's now going to have to protect against this Eagle front, which is great. It makes up for an interesting matchup, an intriguing matchup, one where I'm like, wow. I haven't had appointment television for the New York Jets in a while, and this is going to be an appointment game. But you know what? Wow, my gut's telling me one thing, my brain's telling me another. Who am I going to follow? You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. The Jets upset the damn Eagles. That's right. 4-2. Eagles get upset at MetLife Stadium.
Woo! All right. So after 6 weeks, you got the Eagles at 4-2. I got them at 6-0. I had the Eagles winning their first 6 games, and then there's week 7. Eagles back at home and back on prime time TV. This time on Sunday Night Football, hosting the Miami Dolphins. Here is where I finally had the Eagles taking that first L. I think the Dolphins come to Philly Sunday night, and I think Tyreek Hill puts on a show, and I think that the Dolphins pull off a big one here against the Philadelphia Eagles on prime time in Philly on Sunday Night Football and give them their first L of the season. That's how I feel about
Well,
that. I think Tua comes up there and performs.
I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to pick the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Hurst bringing his boys after losing to the Jets, rallying them and said, hey, that guy on the other side getting his defense fired up. This is what I would say to them. This is what I would say. Sit down, Philadelphia Eagle fans, because I'm about to give you something good, okay? If I'm Jalen Hurst, I would look at my defense and I go, you get that guy. He took my job. Tonight, I proved to him that I was the quarterback of Alabama, that I should have had the national title, that I should have been getting all the accolades. Tonight, I proved to the world that Tua Tagovailoa was not the right prospect out of Alabama. I come out with the victory. Jalen Hurst puts it on a show and lets the people know why he was the best quarterback coming out of Alabama.
I mean, that's an interesting storyline you just brought up, as we all know, in the national championship game a few years ago. Jalen Hurts was replaced by Tua, and Jalen Hurts ended up transferring to Oklahoma from Alabama, as Tua pretty much took his spot. But as we know now, Jalen Hurts is the second highest paid player in the history of the NFL, and he's right now definitely at the top of his game. Yeah, I mean, right now off to a much better start professionally than Tua. Tua is not that Tua's a bum. Tua is definitely good, and he's pretty good at what he's doing. But at the same time, Jalen Hurts is playing on a different level at this stage in the NFL. So I think this is going to also be an interesting storyline building up for this game. The Tua Jalen Hurts thing. You think Jalen Hurts still feel like he wants to go out there and just actually prove it to Tua? Stick it like, look, yeah, you might have got that off in the national championship game, but I'm better than you now, and I'm going to lead my team to a victory against you. But I think Tua gets it done here. I think this is going to be one of those weird games, prime time, where the Dolphins just go up there and Tyreek Hill has one of those crazy, like 200-yard receiving kind of games and just takes it to the Eagles on prime time on Sunday Night Football up in Philly, man. I'd like the upset here. I like the Dolphins in the upset here. 6-1 for the Eagles. I got
5-2, but I think the opposite. I think the Eagles have a good defense to play those kind of guys, and the Miami doesn't have the same corners to hold up against AJ Brown. And I think, like you said, and we'll move on to the next game quickly. Hurst has a chip on his shoulder, and you don't think. Let me tell you something. If you don't think Jalen Hurst didn't hear about it his whole time in Oklahoma, his whole time being drafted. Remember, Tua Tagovailoa was a first-round pick. All right, top 6, top 5. Jalen Hurts had to wait to the second round, and here this guy is now the highest paid. You don't think that's going to weigh heavily? I do. Eagles are 5-2 in my eyes.
all right. Week 8, Philadelphia Eagles going down to Washington to take on the Washington Commanders for the second time this season. Down in Washington, and I think they go ahead and complete the season sweep of the Washington Commanders. Myself personally, you already had them losing to the Commanders. You think? How do you feel about this matchup?
I think they're going to go in there and railroad them again, getting back their revenge for the loss earlier in Week 4 when the Eagles were still trying to find themselves and gather themselves. Remember, the Eagles are getting a new offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. So the first 4 weeks of the season, while they might not change much, I think that's when the Commanders can get them, when they are ripe for the picking. Now we're about mid-season. You have about 8 weeks of game tape. I think coming off the huge win against Miami, I think they're not going to let this one slip away from them. I think they go down there, beat Washington, and now they are 6-2 for me, headed in the season. After 8 games, 6-2, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean 7-1 is also pretty damn good, and that's where I got them at the 8, 7-1. This is an impressive Philadelphia Eagles team. It's never easy to admit how good the division rival is, but they are a really good football team. 7-1 after 8. Week 9. Now business starts to pick up. It is Cowboy week for the Eagles. They will be hosting the Dallas Cowboys week 9 in Philly. This will be a tough one. But I think I still got the Eagles once again finding a way to pull this out I just think they're just that damn good right now, and I feel like I got the Eagles pulling this one out against the Cowboys, Week 9 at home.
Interesting thought process, and I may be on your same level here. But the Cowboys need every division game that they can get because remember they believe that they should have been the number one seed. They believe they should be in the Super Bowl. They already have Super Bowl aspirations. So if they want to have those aspirations, they've got to beat the Eagles, at least split them. But I do believe going to Philadelphia will be a tough task in a tall order. I think the Cowboys do lose. I have the Eagles winning this game, so we're now at 7-2.
Good stuff, good stuff. And I got them at what 8-1 after 9 weeks, and then Week 10 is their bye week, so we can move to Week 11 where woohoo, it gets real. Week 11, Monday Night Football, Super Bowl rematch out in Kansas City. Eagles traveling to the Chiefs. And I still see them coming up short, man. I think too much Patrick Mahomes, too much Andy Reid, just too much the Kansas City crowd. And I can speak for evidence from being out there at the draft. That Kansas City crowd is raucous. They are passionate, and they are going to make it almost impossible for anybody, including the team as good as the Eagles, to come into their building and get the job done, especially in prime time. I think the Kansas City Chiefs hand the Eagles their second loss of the season. Eagles coming off the bye week, take an L on Monday Night Football to the Kansas City Chiefs.
I think they're going to go out there and win. And I think they'll beat them because, revenge. You don't know what revenge is, until you get it. You're going into their building. You have 2 weeks to prepare for this team. You probably have this game circled right now if you are the Philadelphia Eagles because you knew you should have won that football game, and you didn't because of 2 plays, a holding play and a fumble, right? So I think the Eagles are going to go down there after 2 weeks of rest, after ready to go. And I think they're going to go up there and they're going to be upset special to the Kansas City Chiefs, who at this point probably, Week 11, they're going to be a pretty good team. I don't think they're worried too much about where they are seated in the playoffs. But losing to the Eagles won't be that much because they got the ultimate prize in the end, the Super Bowl, the Lombardi. So I think the Eagles here win at 8-2. They improve their record and start to pull away in the NFC.
Wow. Well, I mean, it's going to definitely be one hell of a matchup. It's definitely going to be the game of the week. I mean, it's on Monday Night Football. The NFL knew exactly what they were doing with this one. They wanted to make sure this is definitely a prime time affair.
That's not the one that has like 3 Monday night
Super Bowl back in February.
That's not the week they have like 2 Monday night games, right?
I'm not even sure.
They were doing some weird stuff. They have 2 Monday night games on Monday this year.
It may be. I don't know. It could be because I think it has like a 7:15 start time now that I meant to think about it. But all right, that takes us to Week 12. We got the Buffalo Bills coming to town, coming to Philly, man. There's another big one, another big marquee quarterback matchup. This is 2 weeks in a row. Josh Allen and company coming to town, man. I don't know, man. The Bills in big games lately, man. It's been a little dicey for me with the Bills in big games, and I don't know how big this one actually will be, but it's one hell of a matchup in Week 12. But I still think the Eagles will find a way to rebound coming off an L in Kansas City and get the job done and beat the Buffalo Bills Week 12 at home.
Well, you see, that's where I'm going to differ there because I think they beat the Bills. I think they lose to the Bills at home after exhausting all their energy 2 weeks to go out and beat Kansas City. It was an emotional game. It's a revenge game. It's a Super Bowl game. They want to show this team, hey, we are that team that should have beaten you that fateful night in February. That's going to drain them on a short week coming to play a big team like Buffalo. I think they lose to Buffalo. They get their third loss. The Eagles are now 8-3 after that. After 12 games.
Well, all right, 8-3, and I have 9-2 after 12, or after 11, but after 11 games, whatever. Now we got week 13. Week 13. Another interesting matchup. This schedule just got, it just got brutal for the Eagles right here. This is a hell of a stretch of games for this Philadelphia Eagle team. Week 13, another familiar foe, I should say. The San Francisco 49ers will come back to Philadelphia, where the Philadelphia Eagles ended their season in a miserable way. The game, and it's been a lot of chirping between these two teams all off season. You would think they were division rivals the way they've been talking trash to each other all off season. I mean, this is going to be a big one. But I just don't know. I think the Eagles are just flat out better, and I think they get the job done here. Week 14 against week 13 against the 49ers at home. I don't think it's going to be like the playoff matchup. I don't think they get that kind of a lopsided victory, but I still think the Eagles pull this one out at home against the 49ers, man. This is going to be a big one. They've been building up for this. I'm almost surprised they didn't make this a primetime game the way these guys have been talking, building, and talking all season, man, back and forth.
I'm surprised it's not number one
But
game.
I like
really get it out there.
I like the Eagles. I do like the Eagles here, though. I think they find a way to pull it off and beat the 49ers.
Well, man, again, the Eagles have marquee television. This is a rematch of that divisional game, or the championship game, I do, you should say, where they lost their quarterback, right? They lost their quarterback in the game.
Yeah.
So I don't know who's going to be under center this year for the 49ers, but they're going to be a dog of a team, a bear of a team. But I don't think they have it just yet. I think this is one of the games that they start to build their stride, but they lose to the Eagles as the Eagles are home again, and I gave them a loss to Buffalo. They rebound from that loss to keep up with the NFC because, remember, they want to be the number one seed again. They want the playoffs to come through them again. So they beat the San Francisco 49ers, and they become 10-3 on the season.
Well, all right. Well, back in week 14, and the Eagles are back at a very familiar spot. Once again, finding themselves in the prime time on Sunday Night Football against division rival Dallas Cowboys. At Dallas, I actually chalked the Eagles down for an L here. I think Dallas gets a little bit of revenge from the earlier loss. And I think the Cowboys take care of the Eagles in prime time here down in Dallas in a big NFC East matchup on Sunday Night Football, Week 14. I think the Cowboys will find a way to get the job done against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, I agree with you. I think the Eagles suffer there. I do believe probably the last loss of the season for them. They will lose the game to the Cowboys. So right now I have them at 10-4 after 14. Right? No.
And 11, I have them at 11-3.
Wow.
Or 10-3. What 10-3? That's what I got. 10-3 right now.
So then I should be.
Keep forgetting about the bye week. Keep forgetting about the bye week already. They had the bye week already.
So then I'm at 9 you're at 10-3, and I'm at 9-4. Yes, 9-4.
Yeah, you must be 9-4.
So I'm one game behind.
So that brings us to week 15. Another big matchup against another playoff team from a year ago for the Philadelphia Eagles on the road in a very tough place to play out in the Pacific Northwest. The Seattle Seahawks. The Eagles taking a trip to the 12th man to see the 12th man out in Seattle. This could be a big one. So you don't know what Seattle might be, how they might be competing out there in the NFC West, what they might be competing for. So I'm thinking I like the Eagles to go out there and find a way to get it done in what could be a very intriguing matchup in week 15. But I think the Eagles go out there and get the job done.
I think the Eagles do the same. Not that I'm taking anything away from Seattle. I think they're going to be a contender sooner than later, just because their team is pretty good last year. It wasn't a bad team. They had a good offense. And Pete Carroll knows what he's doing out there with them boys. He's going to have them ready. Eagles aren't going to be able. It's not going to be an easy game. It could be a rematch in the playoffs at some point. But I think the Eagles win this game. I have them going on to victory at 10-4.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And now that brings us to week 16. We know what week 16 is, right?
The New York Giants.
Christmas Day on a Monday. On a Monday, Christmas Day, part of an NFL triple header on Christmas Day.
Oh
We'll
boy.
have the New York Football Giants traveling to Lincoln Financial Field. Your boy Mac the Giants fan very much plans on being there as well. At the link that day on Christmas Day, and the New York Giants travel to Lincoln Financial Field, take on these Philadelphia Eagles. Unfortunately, you know how I feel. You know that our luck with the Eagles is just has not been very good ever that I can remember. And I honestly think, as much as it pains me to say, the Philadelphia Eagles are going to take care of us on Christmas Day, making it a not so Merry Christmas. But I just got to call it like I believe it's going to play out. And I think the Eagles get to take care of us at home on Christmas Day. How do you feel about it, Adam?
Unfortunately, I agree with you. I just think the Eagles at this time again will try to be fighting for the number one seed. So I think they beat the Giants, who will be a solid team and maybe put forth a solid effort. Won't be a blowout games like they were the previous three times they played them. So the Eagles have our number. I just think Christmas Day is going to be one tough pill for us Giants fans to swallow after opening our presents. Let's hope we can open a can of whoop ass on the Philadelphia Eagles that day. But I have them winning the Eagles, so now 11-4.
Well, all right. Brings us to week 17. Eagles hosting the Arizona Cardinals, a team that don't really know how high the expectations are for this football team. Don't know the status of Kyler Murray, how healthy he will be at this point in time. Would assume he will be back maybe for this game, be back by now in the lineup. But I believe that it's just way too unbalanced here. Philadelphia Eagles are just a way better football team, and I don't think this is even a competitive football game. To be quite frank, I think they run away with this one, destroying the Arizona Cardinals in Week 17.
Arizona, again, we don't know what they'll be like, but I guarantee you they're just playing for pride. But I think this is a little speed bump on the real mission that the Eagles are, and that's trying to be their number one seed again. So I have them winning 12-4 right now as we speak.
Yep, we both sitting at that. You sitting at 12-4, and I'm sitting at 13-3. And right now, we got one last game left, Week 18, and it could be a big one. It could be a very important game, maybe more so for the New York Football Giants at MetLife Stadium, hosting these Philadelphia Eagles for the second time in 3 weeks. So I think the New York Giants pulled this one off. Week 18, I believe, just like what Miz is saying in the chat, the Eagles may have things wrapped up. They may be sitting guys at that point in the season. I mean, like I said, I got them sitting at 13-3 right now coming into this game. That's probably a record that'll have them having things pretty much wrapped up in the NFC East as well as the NFC possibly. So I think the Eagles possibly will be resting players here in this spot. Getting their guys some extra rest guys that are banged up. And I think the New York Giants, for the first time in a while, find a way. Well, they won a couple years ago against the Eagles, but they find a way to beat this Philadelphia Eagle team and get it done Week 18.
Well, we said that last
dropping
year.
them to 13-4.
We thought that last year that the Eagles were going to lay down for us, and they were in a tight, hot button playoff race. I think again they'll be in that same playoff race. The only difference is they're playing for the division title that game against the Giants, because if they win, they have the division over the Cowboys. So I think we're going to see a win for the Eagles. I don't think they're going to rest their players. I think they're going to win. That's going to advance their record to 13-4, which magically we have ended up on the same record for the Eagles. So 13-4 for both of
Just
us,
a
we
different
believe,
way.
just a different way. At the end of the day, it'll be irrelevant if they end up at 13-4. We're not going to be like, well, we'll come back and look. But at the end of the day, the record's 13-4, 13-4. So wow, pretty good for them.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. I agree. And Philadelphia Eagles, let's face it, man. Much as like I said, we die hard New York Giant fans here, but look, right now they the cream of the crop in the division. That just is what it is. And until somebody else proves otherwise, this is the best team in this division, man. It's a very good division. It's a very strong division. Right now, the Eagles are at the top of it, man. Until somebody knocks their ass down. Hopefully, that will be the New York Football Giants this season. But we had to wait till September to go on that journey and see how
Well,
everything
wait
turns
till
out, man.
till
But
what week 6, whatever it was, or
but we
the end of
are
the.
about to move on to another team that I can't stand. America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys will be opening the season up, as we know, in MetLife Stadium on
Oof,
Sunday Night Football,
oof.
taking on the New York Football Giants. And I got to tell you right now, this is the time for the New York Giants to make a statement. I think the Dallas Cowboys come up there. I think it's going to be another great classic Dallas Cowboy New York Giant matchup. But I think the New York Giants, led by head coach Brian Dable, and this new look offense that I believe we will have, is going to handle some business in MetLife opening night on Sunday Night Football and take it to their division rival Dallas Cowboys and start this season off 1-0. That's how I feel about that. How do you feel, Adam?
Well, I want to agree with you. I do, but I think this game, if the Giants want to be anything that we believe they're going to be, contenders, whatever, playoff contenders, Super Bowl contenders, the Giants need to win this game. The Cowboys lose, they'll find a way to bounce back. You know what I mean? They always do. But for this game, I think the Cowboys want to also make a statement because remember now they've got Super Bowl aspirations. Their coach's job is on the line. There's been a lot of talk. Now we may not like their draft or understand their draft, but they draft pretty well. And if you can get a guy that can keep guys off of Micah Parsons, it's going to be a tough out. And we'll see what happens. I think Stephen Gilmore is a good get. I don't think the Giants are going to lose like 30-13, but I could see them, losing a close game. I think the Cowboys will just be a little too much to handle for us as we're still putting in some new pieces. You got a rookie out there playing corner, so Brandon Cooks and CD Lamb are out there. Things could happen. You get taken advantage of. If the Giants, like I said, if we want to believe in the Giants winning and being better, they have to win this game. But I have the Cowboys winning 1-0 just because prime time doesn't sit well for us. We haven't won on prime time in a while. I think, unfortunately, for me, it's a loss.
All right. Week 2, the Dallas Cowboys will be hosting everybody's new favorite team this offseason, it seems like, the New York Jets.
Ooh.
I think the Cowboys bounce back personally and get the job done against the New York Jets, who will still be figuring out their new identity with their new quarterback Aaron Rodgers. Who, I mean, he's the new guy. I mean, when I say that, we know Aaron Rodgers is a vet. He's a future Hall of Famer. But it's still a new team and new guys to still get used to, and I think it'll still be a little bit in that little period, a little bit of getting used to his new teammates and getting used to these new guys, and like I said, a new city in New York and everything. So the whole everything that comes with it. I think the Cowboys bounce back and beat the Jets here, week 2.
Um, I think the Cowboys end up dropping the game to the Jets. Aaron Rodgers has had his number against the Dallas defense when he played in Green Bay. Um, who's angry at who? I don't understand what you're talking about. Anyways, I think they beat the Cowboys, the Jets, just because I think Aaron Rodgers has a history of a team. He knows how to play a certain way in a certain team. So, um, you know, I think they lose the game. So we're at 1-1 right now.
You got a 1-1, and yeah, we both at 1-1 actually. Yeah, just once again a different way. But week 3, Cowboys on the road taking on the Arizona
They
Cardinals.
take on
Once
both New
again,
York
I,
teams back to
I
back.
told you how I
Crazy.
feel. Told you how I feel about the Arizona Cardinals already. When we spoke about them earlier with the Eagles matchup, I feel the same way. I think the Cowboys come out here and absolutely trash the Arizona Cardinals week 3 in Arizona. I think they win this game going away. Not even a competitive football game.
Well, you know how you said the Cowboys are a Jekyll and Hyde team. I think this is where Doctor Jekyll comes out, or wherever the monster is. I think they're gonna show you and start to say, get their little swagger about them because I think Mike McCarthy calling the plays is gonna be a little different, and they just lost to the Jets, who are up and coming team. It was a hard fought game, you know, after being a different rival. So now they come back and they have this loft up game, and I think they win the game. So they're 2-1 against Arizona.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Week 4, the New England Patriots at home for the Dallas Cowboys. A home game for the Cowboys week 4 against the Patriots. And this one could be interesting, but I still think the Cowboys I think the talent will overcome in this one, and they'll beat the Patriots at home in week 4.
This is one of those fluky ones for me. I think I'm going to go with the Cowboys are 2-2. The Patriots kind of give them all they can handle, and just kind of upset them because again, you're not playing familiarity with teams. You don't always play them. I think they. I think the Patriots steal one here in Big D.
Well, all right, interesting take. But wouldn't be surprised because Bill Belichick's one of the greatest coaches of all time. So
But
honestly, you never
these
know.
teams that you're
He's
not
done a
familiar
lot.
with,
He's
Mac.
done a lot with a little.
These teams that you're not familiar with,
You
right?
said what?
Dak. These teams that you're not familiar
Oh
with, they don't
yeah,
play the Patriots every year, right? So, I don't think Mac Jones is
no,
going to
not
light
at
it up,
all.
but I do believe, they have a decent defense. They can play. They can force some turnovers, and I just think it's a team where the Cowboys, they play Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, right? And I think this is one of those games where they look sloppy again, as they always do, and they give up the ball, and this is the game they lose to a team with the Patriots.
I mean, it could happen. That does tend to happen a lot with the Dallas Cowboys, things like that. And like you said, I guess this Patriots team is a very well coached football team, even if the talent's not as good as a lot of other teams around the league. It's a very well coached football team, and they don't tend to beat themselves too much. So always got to earn it against the New England Patriots.
So we're at 2-2. I'm at
Week
2-2.
5,
You're at 3-1.
Cowboys 3-1. Week 5, the Cowboys back somewhere where they will be a lot this season in the prime time. And they will be on the road in San Francisco taking on the
Ooh,
49ers
ooh,
in Sunday
ooh.
night football, man. I think it's going to be a little too much Debo in this one, man. I like this one. I like Debo Samuel to have a big day on a big stage in prime time against the Dallas Cowboys. And I think Jim and the rest of that 49er offense with that great running attack that they bring to the table are going to take the Cowboys out again, just like they did in the playoffs in the postseason. Once again, this is a playoff rematch from a year ago from the divisional round, and I think the Dallas Cowboys take an L here to the 49ers in prime time.
I think this is the game the Cowboys have circled on their calendar. Okay, the game where they're going to come out and pull out all the stops. I think the Cowboys upset the 49ers in the regular season in this showdown because remember, they drafted Mozzie Smith for this reason. They drafted him because they got railroaded last year by the 49ers, obliterating them on the run game. So they're trying to beef it up. They didn't draft for the Giants offensive line. They didn't draft for the Eagles offensive line. They drafted for this game in particular. And this is why I believe they're going to go down there and they're down there. They're going to over or up to California, San Francisco, and upset the 49ers early on in the season. Again, the 49ers can deal with it in their division. They'll still have the Seahawks nipping at their heels, but I do believe the 49ers take the L here.
Okay,
Three
okay.
and two.
It's a good take, good take. And I got week 6 here coming up, and once again back on the prime time stage of Monday
Back to
Night
back.
Football. This time on the road, still in the state of California, but this time they going a little further south to Los Angeles to take on the Los Angeles Chargers, led by the Golden Boy himself, Justin Herbert, man. On Monday night, prime time, as good as it gets right here, man. Another big time matchup on Monday Night Football, which has a good slate of games this season, by the way. And I think the Chargers, man, I think they're going to be playing, with a big chip on their shoulder all season after that playoff loss in the wild card round against the Jacksonville a year ago. I mean, back in January. I think the I think the Dallas Cowboys take another L 2 weeks in a row on prime time, man, and lose to the Chargers here out in LA.
Interesting game. Well, I had them winning the last game against the 49ers. And a big emotional game. You went out to the West Coast, you're going again back to the West Coast again. I think they lose this game to the Chargers. Um, they're at 3-3 only because they got beat up by the 49ers, where they were just like, they held their water. That's why I have them losing this game here.
Interesting. So that brings us to week 7, which will be the bye week for the Dallas Cowboys. So I got the Cowboys going into their bye week at 3-3, at 500 going into their bye week.
So do I.
So week 8. We got Dallas Cowboys, man, back home, friendly confines of Jerry's World, and they will be hosting the other team from LA, the Los Angeles Rams. I think the Cowboys come back after a 2-game losing streak, coming off their bye week, and they take it all out on the Los Angeles Rams. I think they come out here and obliterate the Rams coming off their bye week. I like the Cowboys in a big win here, winning big. How do you feel, Adam?
I agree. What was that game? I think it was Minnesota where they came out and absolutely destroyed the team. I think it was the Minnesota game.
Yeah, it was Minnesota.
That's what's going to happen.
It was.
To the
Absolutely,
Rams.
it was Minnesota.
That exact scenario is going to happen. They're going to come out. They're going to, I had them losing going into the bye week to the Chargers. They rested up. They're recharging. They're getting ready for the second half of the year. I think they come out and make a bang statement and get to 4-3 and get above 500 and start to kind of put a winning streak together.
Yep. I definitely agree with you, man. And then that brings us to week number 9, which is the game we already discussed, obviously, against the Eagles. I feel like the Eagles are going to take it to them, beat them in week 9 in Philly. We discussed that one already, so
Yes.
I feel like we need to keep
4-4.
beat a dead horse on that one. And week 10, the New York Football Giants. The Cowboys will be hosting the Giants week 10. And I got the Cowboys, unfortunately, handling their business down at Jerry's World against a game New York Giant football team. But I think Dallas also had, just like the Eagles, have had our number for quite some time, especially in recent history. And I think the Dallas Cowboys they get the job done in Jerry's World and knock us off. Unfortunately, hard for me to say, but I just think that's how it's going to play out.
I agree with you there. I had them losing to the Giants, and then I thought about it. This is a game. They just came off their bye week. They're going to be trying to keep rolling, probably keep pace with the Eagles in the division. So I think they're going to beat the New York Giants, unfortunately. I just don't think we're quite there yet. This team has our number. Like you said, they know how to defend us. In both games, they defended us the same way. I know that there's more pieces, but let's be honest, the offense goes as the quarterback goes. So if they know how to defend the quarterback, which they do, I think it's going to be a rough go for the Giants. So I have the Cowboys right now. I do believe they're at 5-4 right now after 9.
All right. Week 11 at Carolina with new young Carolina's hoping the stud quarterback Bryce Young, but I still think that's not nearly enough to take
Me
on
either.
to handle the Dallas Cowboys. So I like the Cowboys here in Week 11 against the Panthers down in Charlotte.
Right. I think this is, like I said, this is the win streak that I told you about. They beat the Rams. They come out to beat the Giants. And now they come out and beat the Carolina Panthers to end up 6-4 in probably right now second place in the NFC East as we speak. So they're still in it to win it.
All right, we got Week 12. Week 12. We have that's Thanksgiving week. Cowboys hosting their traditional Thanksgiving Day game. This year they'll be hosting another division rival. Last year was us, the New York Giants. This year it will be the Washington Commanders. And we know the Cowboys' history overall on Thanksgiving recently hasn't been all that great, even though they got the job done against us last year. I think that history starts repeating itself some more, and I believe that the Washington Commanders get the upset down in Texas Stadium on Thanksgiving.
I do not. I think they beat up on the Washington Redskins as they've had a history in Thanksgiving games when they played Washington to beat them up. I just think history repeats itself for Washington, who will, probably be in the mix for a wild card spot at this point. But I just think they're too much to handle, and I think they lose to the Cowboys.
Okay, interesting stuff here. Week 13. The Dallas Cowboys back at home hosting the Seattle Seahawks. An interesting football team the Seattle team is, man. Like I said, a playoff team from a year ago. At this stretch of the season, these games probably are all going to be huge for the Dallas Cowboys. But I think the Seattle Seahawks find a way in Texas Stadium to take it to them, man. I think the Cowboys stumble a little bit here at back-to-back L's, and I think they're taking here at home. And I think the Seattle Seahawks and Geno Smith, DJ Metcalf and company, take it to the Cowboys at home.
I think you're right. I think the win streak for the Cowboys ends at 3. And they go from being 3-3 to 7-3 or whatever they're at now. I have my 7-4, so they'll be 7-5 here after Week 13. I just think, you beat Carolina. This team is a Jekyll and Hyde team. It's probably a team we'll see again in the playoffs, and I just think the Cowboys will, do what the Cowboys do and have a letdown game against a good team in a hostile spot. Seattle 7-5.
Well, all right. I mean, right now I got the Cowboys after Week 13. I had the Cowboys sitting at 6-6. At Week 14, once again, back on the primetime stage, big, huge divisional matchup for the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football, as they will be hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. Is that 3 home games in a row for the Dallas Cowboys?
Right.
Who the hell Jerry Jones pay? But anyway, that at home Sunday Night Football against the Philadelphia Eagles,
I think we
man,
spoke
and
about
I
this
think
game.
we did. No, actually, you're right, we did. My bad, I forgot that fast. But the Eagles had the Cowboys win. I had the Cowboys winning this one. But
Did I have the Cowboys winning? I forgot.
I can't remember
But
now offhand.
I can't
Week
remember either.
15. We can move on to week 15.
Yeah.
We got the Buffalo Bills. The Cowboys traveling to up to Western New York, take on the Buffalo Bills in Week 15. Man, I think the Buffalo Bills hand the Cowboys another L. Man, here I think Josh Allen is going to come out and have a big day in front of the home crowd, man. And I think something about the Dallas Cowboys coming into your stadium sometimes, especially when you're not a team used to playing with them, but yet you still probably live in a city where you still hear about them all the damn time anyway,
Yeah.
just because they the damn Dallas Cowboys. So I think Buffalo takes care of business here, man. Week 15 against the Dallas Cowboys at home.
So I have this team losing. I think it's they're 8-6 now. The Cowboys will lose this game with week 15 with 3 or 4 to go. So I do believe they lose this game.
I agree. Definitely agree. Week 16, another AFC on the road against another AFC East opponent, the Miami Dolphins. This game, I had to really think hard. I was thinking on this one, which way to go, this way to go with this one. But I think the Cowboys find a way to pull this one off, man. I think the Cowboys win against the Miami Dolphins in Week 16 down in Miami, man.
I agree. I think the Cowboys get out of their funk. They win this game against Miami, and they get back on track with 9 wins, 9-6 headed to the last 2 games.
Well, all right. Week 17. Guess what the Cowboys playing at Week 17? Once again on the prime time stage. Monday Night Football. Probably the final Monday. I would assume the final Monday Night Football of the season. They usually don't have they never have a Monday night game on Week 18, the last week of the season. So this will be the final Monday night game of the year. It will be the Dallas Cowboys hosting the Detroit Lions. And I don't know, man. I was thinking about this one too, and I said, you know what? The Lions might be playing for something serious right now in that division too. You never know how things are going to shake up. I'm assuming it's going to be come down between the Lions and the Vikings over there in the NFC North, and this could be a huge game, man. Where I'm not saying it's not big for the Cowboys too, but this Lions team, man, they really are one of those teams this season coming into this year. It's going to be interesting to watch, man. Keep it good because they did, last year just narrowly missed the playoffs. I think this year they're trying to kick that door in, man. And I like the Lions here on Monday night against the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas, man. I think the Lions find a way to get the big W to propel them into the postseason, man.
Wow, that's a crazy thought process. Um, but I'm going to go with the Cowboys winning, getting win number 10 to try to keep up and stay within that, wild card race at this point.
Well, all right, and then finally, Week 18, the Dallas Cowboys visiting division foe, the Washington Commanders, and I think this is a do or die game for the Dallas Cowboys. And I think this is an absolute must win for them, and I think they get that win, and I think it'll hang on and secure a wild card spot once again with this W, moving them to 9-8 for me on the season.
And I am going to be moving them to 10-7. I have them, well, actually, this would make them 11-6. So beating the Washington Commanders, going 11-6, 2 games behind um, um, the Eagles in terms of the division. I think they drop off, but they went 12 wins last year. I think they go 11-6 this year. So that's my record.
Absolutely, good stuff, Adam. Good stuff right there. See, this is I'm saying I picked finish had the Cowboys finishing 9-8, and I think that last win propels them into a wild card spot, secures them a wild card spot. And I believe once again how good the NFC East is so damn good that we may very well see once again 3 teams from this division in the postseason again next year. Because that's how good I believe this division actually is. It is back to prominence. It's back to being the best damn division in football. It's no more jokes about the NFC East. All that NFC least, all that shit's way out the window now. This division stepped up last year, and I think, as you can see by the way the schedule was made, that they want to showcase the NFC East. The league wants the NFC East to be showcased nationally. Want everybody to put eyes on these teams, and I think they're going to show exactly why. And I believe it's going to be 3 teams once again, and I think the Cowboys will be one of those 3 teams, which takes us to who, our favorite, all of our favorites up on here, and that would be the New York Football Giants. And we don't need to start with the first game out as we just discussed that. Obviously, breaking down the Cowboys schedule. I got a win for the Giants here. You had an L, I believe. to
Yep.
start off the season on Sunday Night Football.
Right.
And so we will move on to week 2. Yep, we will move on to week 2, where the New York Giants will be hitting the road somewhere. They will be quite a bit in the first half of the season, by the
Yes.
way.
Yes.
Thank you,
Yes.
NFL, for that one. But hitting the road, going out to the desert, Arizona, who I'm pretty sure they're going to be without Kyler Murray. You never know. Like you said, stranger things do happen. We were speaking on the phone earlier. Stranger things do happen. So you never really know what to fully expect. But I'm going to assume they're going to be without Kyler Murray for this one. And I think we're just better, flat out a better football team than the Arizona Cardinals as things stand right now. And I believe we're going to go out there, desert, not taking them lightly. We're not going to take anybody lightly, but I think we're going to go out there and get a W on the road against the Arizona Cardinals week 2.
I agree with you, Mac. I think this is a bounce back game after the Sunday night showing. They're going to come out here and beat a team that they should beat, a team that's rebuilding, Cardinals team that they should be better than. So I think they get their first W against that team.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. Week 3, we're going to stay out west too for this one. We're going to stay out west, and the New York Giants, from everything that I've already read a little early reports on, are going to definitely stay out west in that Pacific time zone. And they're going to be taking on the 49ers on a short week. Now it's over in San Fran, man. Thursday night football. I really, really hate Thursday night games personally. I'm just not a fan of them. But this is definitely a tough one for the New York Giants on the road in San Francisco. And I just think it might be a little too much for the Giants. And I think the 49ers take care of business at home against the New York Giants on Thursday night football, unfortunately.
I agree with you. I think the 49ers are a better team. There's a reason why they ended up in the championship game. I think, it's not a bad thing to say to lose to the 49ers, who you think is one of the best teams in your conference. So that's what I believe. And I don't think the Giants are not quite ready to contend with the big dogs right now.
All right, all right, all right. That takes us to week 4. And week 4, man, New York Giants back in the prime time once again. Monday night football at home, hosting the Seattle Seahawks, a team that a season ago got a big win on the Giants. I think the Giants could look for a little bit of get back, and I think the Giants get the job done in prime time against the Seattle Seahawks. I think they figure out a way, a formula to defeat this team this year on a big stage, Monday Night Football. And I'm loving the spot here, Week 4 against the Seattle Seahawks and Monday night. I think it was a good job by the league putting this game on in the prime time. Man, both these teams played great seasons a year ago, well exceeding their expectations, and they both deserve a little prime time spotlight. So I think the Giants get the job done here.
I think while the Giants will come out and play a hard game, I think Pete Carroll is going to try to have this team. This is one of the stepping stones this team needs, right? Especially since the 49ers will have just beaten the Giants. They're going to need to keep up with the 49ers. So, no offense to the Giants. I think they come up a little short. Again, they still have that prime time curse. They've won one game out of the last however many in prime time, and it was against a lowly ass Washington Commanders team. This team, evenly matched. They had a pretty good draft, Seattle. Bringing in some guys, and I think that right now, again, the Giants will be playing a rookie corner. There'll be some young players, I think, still getting acclimated to the team. And I just think that the Seattle Seahawks are going to win this game. So the Giants will be 1-3 out after 4.
See, my only reservations with the Seattle Seahawks football team is honestly it's Geno Smith, the quarterback, coming off a great season a year ago, comeback player of the year, well deserved award, by the way, well deserved award for him, by the way, and but I just still got to see it. I'm one of those see it to believe it guys, and I'm not sure. I'm still not all the way convinced. Can he repeat it? Can he repeat what he did? I know Pete Carroll is a great coach. Pete Carroll has said amazing things about Smith this offseason, how his work about his work ethic and how hard he's been working. They got the new contract this offseason, which was also well deserved. But That's the only thing that gives me a little bit of reservations, only because we have a large body work from Geno Smith. And last year, according to his overall body of work, it makes last year look like a bit of an aberration. You know what I mean? So I got to see him come out at that same level. Comes out with that at that same level again. Then maybe you know what I mean. I'll be more of a
We have the
believer.
same
But right
reservation about
now,
DJ.
that's the only thing that gives me. But it's different. Geno Smith has been in the league for 14 years, Adam.
Geno
14
Smith has been
years.
in
We
the league
got that
14
much
years.
body work from Geno Smith.
Geno Smith has been in the league 7 years. Okay, he came in 2013.
No.
Okay,
He hasn't been in the league any 7 years.
When was he
He
drafted?
got covered the league in like 2016.
Sorry,
He's
you're
been in the
right.
league
10
before
years.
then.
10 years, but still, they gave him a contract, off of one good season. So if you're going to say that you're apprehensive about it, right, and we anticipate Daniel's going to have a good season, I can't not say that Geno's not going to follow it up with a decent year. He had 4,200 yards.
I didn't say he
69%.
wasn't. I said I want to see him do it again. I didn't say he wasn't.
And that's okay. So when people get
again.
so I guess my point is when people get mad about me and Daniel, I want to say the same thing about Geno. I want to see him do it again. I want to make me a believer. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I mean, I agree with that. I agree with that too. But I'm just saying that's what makes me apprehensive about the Seattle Seahawks.
Right, and I get you. And Geno Smith didn't have a great game in the playoffs, the second game that they went into. I get it. But still, I'm just saying for me, I just think Seattle has done some things that don't necessarily put them ahead of the Giants, but it's a 50-50 game for me. But I do believe there's still a little bit more talent on the offensive side of the ball for the Seattle Seahawks. They're going to get Geno Smith the second year in the system. They have Noah Fant. They have DJ Metcalf, Lockett. Didn't they just draft another receiver in this draft? Yes, they did draft this Jackson Smith Enigma.
He drafted
number 20, right, from Ohio State, and they got the best corner in the draft. So I'm just saying to me, they're gearing up to be a big team, and I just see a big spot. They just saw them lose to. Just beat the 49ers, just beat the Giants. I think they're going to come in here and have to keep up with the 49ers. So that's my thought process. Sorry, folks.
Right.
Geno Smith's been in the league about 11 years. My math, sorry. Apologize.
So, that's like just my thing with Geno Smith. Like I said, his body work other than last year out of his career, with all those, like you said, 11 years or whatever it's been. That's it. That's literally like the one memorable good year out of 11 years. I know I get what you say about Daniel Jones, but it's only been a much smaller body of work. It's been a much smaller body of work, and it's been some clear, glaring issues where, he has. I mean, I'm not just saying Geno's been a part of world beater teams, obviously, because he hasn't, but it's been rough. It's been some rough towing and some other circumstances too.
Let's
see all of that.
He's not at the twilight of his career, but 32 years old is pretty solid for a quarterback.
I mean, but like I said, maybe Geno benefited from being a backup for several years, and maybe the light bulb really is all the way on. Like I said, I hope it is, because I got him on one of my fantasy dynasty teams that won a championship a year ago, and then I absolutely
That's why
hope
Mac
that
wants him to do well.
that he can regenerate that magic again. So, I'm not going against the guy or anything. I'm just saying.
Mac has a gem.
I do need to see it though.
If you pick Geno Smith, did you win your league? Because I feel like Geno Smith won a lot of players, a lot of fantasy teams leagues this year, because probably people put him in and as his quarterback, and he outperformed every metric on there. So, man, I didn't think Geno Smith had it in him. Anyways, we talked enough about Geno. Let's move on.
I mean, yeah, let's move on. Let's move on to Week 5. The New York Giants will be going down to sunny Miami, Florida, to take on the Miami Dolphins, led by Tua, and and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and that explosive offense. And I think this will not be a friendly trip to Miami for the New York Giants. I think the Dolphins pull out the W here against the New York Giants and get the New York Giants their second L of the season for me.
I am going to say the Giants win here, and they go 2-3 after five. I think they upset Miami. I think they can handle Tua Tagovailoa because I just don't think Miami's defense is the greatest defense in the world. I think the Giants can hopefully put up some points. We're expecting them to put up some points. I think you'll see a deep pass or two to Jalen Wyatt in this game. I just think the Giants go down to Miami. They've done well with Florida teams this past few years. I think they go down and they beat Miami.
Wow. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how that one plays out. That's going to be interesting match. I think those. I think that I actually believe we're pretty. I believe we're pretty evenly matched with the Miami Dolphins in a sense. Just their offense, obviously, we know what their offense is, but I think our offense against their defense can also, generate, make some noise, and I think that's going to be the difference in the game. But I think it might be a difference in the game. It might just be their offense is a little bit more
Tyreek
explosive,
Hill is pretty good.
and they're going to just put up a few more points. Yeah, put up a few more points than we do that day at home. But let's move it right along because week 6 we are once again taking on another AFC East team. This time on prime time, Sunday night football, traveling up to Western New York to take on the Buffalo Bills. This is
Rematch
not a
Super Bowl
matchup I'm looking
25.
forward to. Not a matchup I'm looking forward to. I think up in Buffalo, it's going to be too much Josh Allen, too much Stephon Diggs, man. I just think that we're gonna go up there and take another L 2 weeks in a row to AFC East teams, man. I think the Buffalo Bills get us on Sunday Night Football week 6.
As much as I want to believe that they're going to rally around for Brian Dable to beat this team, I don't think they will have the horses. Again, I still believe, whether people want to believe me or not, the Giants are still developing their talent and still building their identity towards being a good team. And it doesn't mean that they won't be competitive or they won't be a solid football team. But sometimes, you get beat by a better team that's on a mission. And let's be honest, the Buffalo Bills are on a mission. They have to finish the story, as Cody Rhodes would say, right? So I don't think the Giants have the horses to go up there and do that. I do think they have the horses. I don't think they're all going to be meshing at that point in the season. So I think the Giants will be 2-4 after 6.
Interesting indeed. After 6, you got them at 2-4, and I have them at, I believe, 1, 2, 3, 3-3, 3-3 after 6 for me. That brings us to week 7, and the New York Giants taking on a division rival, the Washington Commanders, at home up in MetLife Stadium, man. I think the New York Giants take care of the Washington Commanders. It's just one of those teams that the Giants usually have pretty good success against in the division. I know division games can go either way, always a toss up, man. But I believe that the Washington Commanders. I think the Giants. I believe the New York Giants will get the job done here against the Commanders at home, in a big division NFC East divisional matchup.
I agree here. I think the Giants win this game against Washington, advancing their record to 3-4 after 7.
All right. And I got them at 4-3 after 7. Brings us to week 8. This is a big one. Just because it's not necessarily it's a rivalry, even though they only play each other once every 4 years. But it's still a rivalry. They share a stadium. New York Giants get the nod as the home team for this one. But they will be taking on those New York Jets week 8. And it's time to see who is truly the Kings of New York, because the Jets have been getting a lot of buzz. Especially in recent weeks after getting the big blockbuster trade for Aaron Rodgers. And I think they're almost like people are just forgetting the New York, like looking past the New York Giants now and just making the New York Jets the king of New York. If ever you have a reason to have a chip on your shoulder, I think this is it right now. New York Giants are the big brothers. Let's make this clear. New York Giants are the big brothers as far as this goes. You know what I mean? It's like the Yankees to the Mets. New York Giants are the big brothers here in this between these two teams. But right now, seems like the Jets are getting all the love, man. And everybody's still kind of looking past the New York Football Giants, man. I think the New York Giants got a point to prove, and they're gonna prove it against the New York Jets and get the job done right here, Week 8 against the New York Jets and get the big W. It's gonna be a big one.
I think it's tough for me because the Jets had a top 5 defense, and that's what people forget. Because they are the New York Jets. I feel, like the Mets and the Yankees, we tend to not watch the other team. Whether we are a Met fan, we don't don't like the Yankees because obviously there are a sibling rivalry, so we don't really want to pay them any mind. Jets are the same way. They don't really care about the Giants. However, I would say this: if you were to put them on the field right now, I would say the Giants have a decent shot at beating them. I'm going to give the Giants a win here, but I would not be surprised if the Jets beat them because I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a renaissance season with the Jets. I think he's happy. I think he's excited to be at a new place. And I did think he's going to have it, but not today against the New York Giants. They will be finishing 4-4 after 8, still quite in the playoff mix, but not quite there.
Well, okay, since you brought a good point up about the Jets defense, top 5 defense, legit as it gets. They had the offensive rookie of the year last year, as well as the defensive rookie of the year last year. That's unprecedented for a team to have 2 players win both of
with
those
no
awards
quarterback.
in the same damn
He had
season,
an offensive rookie of the year, no quarterback.
In the same season. But with that being said, I believe there is a strong chance. To me, myself, this is how I feel anyway. There's a strong chance the New York Giants could very well be sporting a top 5 defense this season. And I believe that the New York Giants, and I just believe that there's also a couple things about this, like Aaron Rodgers thing that for my opinion, personal opinion and beliefs, is the New York media is nothing like the Green Bay media. And I get Aaron Rodgers is a professional. I get it. He's been in the league a long time. He's one of the best to ever do it. I get all of that. But all it takes is a bad game, and you're on the headline of the newspapers for all the wrong reasons in New York City. And I'm not sure how Aaron Rodgers responds to that. I don't know if he gets butt hurt. I don't know how he takes those kind of things and how it could possibly affect him because it's just a different animal. The New York media is a different animal than the damn Green Bay media. It's a way different animal. You know what I mean? So I'm also curious to see how Aaron Rodgers deals with that adversity because as good as Aaron Rodgers is, he will have a stinker here or there. You know what I mean? It's just it's human nature. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's so perfect that you don't have a bad game here and there. Even the great Patrick Mahomes has a clunker every once in a while. You know what I mean? Not very often, but once in a while. So I'm just curious to see how Aaron Rodgers responds from with that kind of adversity whenever it does come come about. And I just think that hopefully it comes about during the course of this week and shakes him up a little bit and has him not so ready for the New York Giants, man. But I don't know. I do see your point. I like the Jets are. I mean, they've done some great things and they put together a very good team on paper, man, for real. But I still think the Giants gonna have that little chip on their shoulder, possibly could give them that little extra edge in this one, man. But let's go on to week 9, and that is a trip to Las Vegas, Sin City, y'all, taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. And first I had reservations about this one because I know Las Vegas. I know first time the Giants playing the Raiders out in Vegas. But I think we got a disciplined enough football team to be able to go out to Vegas, keep our heads on right, and go out there and know that we got some business to handle, and that's getting a win against a Raider team that I just don't think is better than us. And even though they're playing at home, I think we need to win this football game because right now We're in the division with the Philadelphia Eagles, Dallas Cowboys, and we got to keep pace, man. And I think this is the type of game at this point in the season that the Giants cannot afford to drop. And I think they will figure out a way to get it done out in Sin City, man.
I agree here. I think they win this game. These are the teams you need to beat. If you want to be anywhere in the playoff mix, you got to beat these teams. We know you're not at the elite level status, but we went to the wild card last year. Now anything less than the divisional round, once you get to the playoffs, well, that'll be a different story. But if you want to keep your season alive, you win this game. Because right now you're at 4-4. You're teetering on the brink of elimination.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, then week 10 we already discussed previously against the Cowboys. And we both, I believe, had the Cowboys
Winning.
I had the Cowboys win. I had the Cowboys winning this one. I can't remember if you had the Cowboys winning this one or not, but I had the Cowboys.
Yes, I
winning this
did.
one in week 10.
I'm at 5-5.
All right, and then week 11, another matchup with the Washington Commanders. This time down in Washington, I think the New York Giants complete the season sweep of the Washington Commanders. I just think that, like I said before, I think for some reason the New York Giants just tend to play really well against the Washington Commanders. Daniel Jones tends to play really well against the Washington Commanders. I just think that we're just going
Daniel Jones could play against 32 Washington Commanders team. He'd be the best quarterback in the history of the NFL.
So then week 12, the New York Giants will be hosting in MetLife Super Bowl rematch, Super Bowl 42 and 46 rematch. The New England Patriots coming to MetLife Stadium, man. And once again, like I said, it's hard to gauge this New England Patriot team. Don't really know what they really going to be made of. You just, like I said, you're going to get a well-coached football team coming to town. Disciplined football team, but I think the New York Giants, once again, like we said, like you kind of just said about the Raiders, these are the games you got to win, man. You got to beat the opponents that you technically on paper are better than, and I think that's what this matchup's kind of going to be in week 12, and I think the New York Giants get the job done here.
I think the Giants end up 500 here. I think the Patriots will just be a little too much to handle. After beating Washington, unfamiliar with the AFC East, remember. So I just think Bill Belichick wants to come in and get some revenge with the Eli Manning-less-led Giants, and he wants to do it in MetLife Stadium. And really, you have a chance to maybe put their season in peril. So.
And that brings us to week 13, which is the New York Giants bye week. One of the last bye weeks of the season, I believe. Probably week 14 will be the last bye weeks. So week 13 is the bye week, and I have the Giants sitting at 7-4, I believe, right now.
Damn,
you said you had them at 500.
The bye week is that late?
Yeah.
My God. 7-4. Oh wait, yeah. So you're 7-4, so that would be 11 games. So then I had them at 6-5. Then I thought they week 12 6-6. Yeah, 6-6 after 12. Yeah, 6-6.
Oh, 7 and then I might be having miss. What? I got them at 8-5 actually. 8-5. I mean, no, 7 and I don't know, whatever. My math's all screwed up right now, but whatever. We'll move on to week 14. Back in the prime time, coming off the bye week, back on Monday Night Football, and this time we are hosting the Green Bay. Damn, I just realized the New York Giants, out of all their primetime games, they're pretty much hosting like almost all of them, except for one.
Nice.
Except for two. So Green Bay coming to MetLife on a Monday night, week 14. I don't know what to expect from this Green Bay Packer team. I'm not sure who the quarterback is. I'm assuming they're just going to throw Jordan Love out there, I guess, and see what this kid's got. I don't know if by that point in the season will he have lost his job or what the hell be going on with them, but I just don't have high expectations for this football team this year. Don't think they're going to be very good. Was actually surprised they got the primetime spots that they got, but I guess that's when you're Green Bay Packers. You're going to get primetime spots regardless, even with or without Aaron Rodgers. So I
Well,
think the
I'm
New
sure
York
those are
Giants
the
will beat the
flex
Green Bay
games.
Packers.
So if the
Well, not
team
on
is, I'm
Monday night.
sure.
They don't flex Monday night games.
Oh,
They don't flex Monday night games.
we're playing Monday night. Then never mind. No.
Yeah, but I think the Giants
I
win
think
this
they're right.
game here. I think this was it's the same, like you said. Once again, the same thing. Just these are the kind of games. These are the teams you got to be able to beat. These teams, you got to find a way to win these kind of games at this stage of the season when you're probably going to be in a very heated divisional race in the NFC East, as well as just trying to keep pace and make sure you can make it into the playoffs. That brings us to week 15, and we're going somewhere where I hate to travel to, man. I really do hate going down to New Orleans, man. Something about that damn
Ooh.
dome, it's something about that dome, man. And I know we won the last time we were down there in dramatic fashion and overtime. The big comeback win down there a couple years ago. Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley had the huge game. I don't see that same magic being generated. I think the Saints down in that dome get the Giants a really a big L here at a critical point in the season.
Yeah, I think in the dome we've never played well, no matter who's been out there. And I think it's been the House of Horrors, and it's going to be loud. And they have Derek Carr, and they'll be fighting for probably a playoff spot. Being in the South is so weak, I can see the Giants losing this game, 7-7.
Which brings us to week 16, which we've already discussed. Obviously, a Christmas game against the Eagles, and we obviously both had the Eagles getting the W here on Christmas Day against the New York Giants. Bah humbug.
Yep.
Take it to week 17, man. And the New York Giants will be back home in MetLife Stadium hosting a team that the last time they came to MetLife Stadium put it on the New York Giants just 2 years ago, the year they won the Super Bowl, the Los Angeles Rams. And I know the Giants don't really have that game in the back of their mind. There's no real reason to. I mean, I think just right now they're just a way better football team than what the Rams are probably going to have on the field. And I think that we get the job done here in Week 17 and get back to our winning ways.
I do too. The Giants are 8-8 with a chance to be above 500.
And that brings us to Week 18. Philadelphia Eagles, New York Giants, close the season out once again. This time it's going to be in MetLife. We already talked about it. Like I said earlier, I think the Giants do get the W because for the reasons I discussed earlier, the Eagles should be resting up their group by my calculations. But we'll see. See how that plays out, man. That gives me 11-6 for the New York Giants, and you were 9-8.
8-9. Oh, 9-8, I think. Yeah, 9-8. Or was it 8-9?
9-8, you said, or 8-9.
I think it's 8-9.
No, you had the Eagles beating the Giants here, so
yeah. So
8-9.
8-9.
You had the Eagles beating the Giants here.
8-9.
Well,
I picked it. I thought they would win 9, so I guess my calculations off slightly as we went through. But I tried to be as fair as possible. But 8 wins is not terrible,
8 wins. I mean, to me, it's pretty terrible because I don't think 8 wins is getting you in the playoffs. So I think that's not good enough for me. But I don't see. I just don't see the regression. I don't see where we're going to regress. I don't believe that's going to happen this year. I think the Giants.
Just because you regress doesn't mean you're not getting better. Just because you regress doesn't necessarily mean your team is bad. You just might have faced some better teams in there. Yes, the record's going to indicate you're a worse team, but for example, I'm trying to do this right. Just because you take a step back doesn't mean that next year in 2024 you won't be able to be, a Super Bowl contender or at least a conference contender. So I don't want people to look at it and be like, oh, he's picking in my brain, I have a solid 9 wins. After this exercise, I have 8 and 9. So we'll see what happens. I'm not gonna say either way, like 8 or 9 wins, but on this podcast, I have them winning 8 games. So we'll see what happens. But I don't think it's going to mean the
Yeah,
Giants
well,
are a bad team or they take a step back. They're still remember, man, they're still rebuilding. As much as we don't want to believe that, I don't think this process is done yet. You know what I mean?
I mean, I get we're still in the midst of a rebuild, but I don't know. I just feel like this team is. I don't know. I just got really good vibes about this football team this year. Just the energy, it's just the commitment is back, man. Here, and I think the belief is back. And like I said, we were talking earlier. There's going to be some great battles in training camp, man. We're gonna have, like I said, some legitimate tough cuts and tough decisions to make this during after training camps closes, man. It's not gonna be like last year where we're not putting the talentless team out. We still, I'm not saying we match up to the top tier teams yet, still from a talent standpoint. But we're not going to be as far under the radar, as far under the gun as we were a year ago. Where last year, I believe, even with the playoff season, we still had one of the absolute shittiest rosters in the league on paper. I mean, it was just shitty, and I think we did overachieve with that roster. And I think these guys got a lot of belief in them, and I think it's going to help them come out and win some big games this year. And that's why I got them at 11-6 and coming in second place in the NFC East behind the
Sounds like someone
Philadelphia
else we
Eagles.
know.
And I believe it just coincidentally worked out that way. But yeah, I have them at 11-6, and I think they will be second place in NFC East this year, and I believe they will be one of three teams representing the NFCs once again in the postseason, man. That leaves one more team, folks. One more team. We will try not to take up too much of your time with these guys because we know out of the NFC East teams that this is the one that gets the least love.
Well, right.
It is
I
the
mean,
Washington Commanders, man.
right now they're 1-5 on my board in the division because I had them losing to everybody minus the upset to the Eagles. So that's 1-5 already.
Jesus. Well, week one, they're opening up the year, week one, at home against the Arizona Cardinals. We've already discussed this Arizona Cardinals team with everybody else as well. I don't see it being any better for them here. I mean, maybe they'll be able to be a little more competitive with the Washington Commanders, but I still think they don't have enough to get the job done week one against Washington and down there in DC. I think Washington gets their season off to a 1-0 start here.
As do I, but I think Sam Howell struggles. And this is where we're leading on to the Jake Hobie Brissett era coming up soon. But I think they win the first game, but Sam Howell struggles.
All right. Now, here we go. Week two. This is where it's going to start getting a little interesting for the Commanders. They're traveling out to Mile High, visiting the Denver Broncos. This is a team that I believe last year was a complete aberration. I believe there's no way this team is as bad as what they put on tape last year. I believe in Russell Wilson. I believe in the talent of Russell Wilson, and I believe he will have a big rebound season for the Denver Broncos. And I think the Commanders will get toasted by this Denver Broncos team week two that is now coached by a real football coach, Sean Payton, somebody that actually knows what he's doing and knows how to get the best out of his players. So I think this Broncos team will have a much better year than they did a year ago, and I think they're going to take it to the Commanders week two.
I agree with you. I don't think it's going to be that. I think this is where Sam Howell struggles and gets benched because of the ineptitude to which the offense has against the defense of the Denver Broncos.
Yes, sir. And that's week three. Yeah, that's week three. The Commanders at home hosting the Buffalo Bills. I don't think the Commanders have enough. They don't got enough juice. Week 3, man. Buffalo Bills. I think they'll be rocking and rolling, man. I think they're gonna take it to the Commanders. Week 3, down in
I
Landover or
I
wherever the hell
think
they play at.
I think this is where Jacoby Brissett at halftime gets inserted for the rest of the year because the young buck they give him one more week to see if he can perform against this high flying Bills team, and he throws a couple early interceptions in the first half, which is costing the Washington Commanders dearly because obviously Buffalo's probably not playing its best. Jacoby Brissett comes in while they lose the game. I think the Jacoby Brissett era begins week 3.
Well, good stuff, and then it don't get any easier for the Commanders week 4. Well, we already discussed this. They got the Eagles. We've already
But here's the upset.
discussed this game where Adam picked the upset earlier. I picked the straight up L. I just don't see them beating the Eagles.
Right.
But Adam,
Jacoby
my,
Brissett.
my co-host, he believes Jacoby Brissett's going to come out here in his first start of the season and get the job done against the Philadelphia Eagles. So we'll see how that plays out. But week 5, let's move on. Week 5, short week for the coming after the game with the Eagles. Then they got a short week, Thursday night football against the Bears. But I think they find a way to. I think they find a way to get it done here, man. I think they find a way to get it done on a short week against the Chicago Bears, who I think are still be figuring out some things themselves. I think they'll be better than they were a year ago. I don't think they'll be the worst team. I don't think they're going to have the first overall pick again. But I believe that they're still not quite where they need to be, and I think Washington will be able to find a way to get it done here.
I feel Washington will be again winning against the Bears. I think they're just slightly ahead of the Bears in terms of the averageness of the team. I think the Commanders are really looking for a quarterback next year, but I think Jacoby Brissett is leading the charge, and he's got them on a 2-game win streak.
All right. Good stuff. Week number 6. Okay. Going down to the Dome in Georgia. Georgia Dome down in Atlanta, man. I think, I don't know. I just, for some reason, I penciled them in for a W here just because Washington has a way of, showing up and having those couple of good games, have a couple of good weeks, and then, getting back to mediocrity. And I think they figure out a way to go down to Atlanta and get it done down in the Dome against the Falcons.
I agree with you. So I think Jacoby Brissett, they're on a win streak here. They're feeling good about themselves, beating up on some bad teams as they just upsetting the Eagles the week prior, and then going down to the Georgia Dome and beating them up.
All right. And then that brings us to week 7, and we already discussed this, obviously, against the Giants. We got them penciled, both got them penciled in for an L here.
Yep.
So we can move it along. Oh, what do you know? Week 8 is also a game we've also discussed. We've also discussed the Week 8 matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles, which we both also penciled them in for another loss.
Another one. So we're at 3 and 5.
And then week 9, they are on the road up in New England to take on the Patriots, man. And once again, I penciled them in for a W, coming off a couple of big division losses. Just figure they go up there and find a way to clip the New England Patriots. Just because, like I was saying earlier, Washington just is a weird team sometimes like that. They're finicky like that sometimes. You just don't know what to really expect. And that's the type of game I can see them going up there and pulling it off.
I do have them at 4 wins. I will tell you, I don't think they're beating this team, even though I think Jacoby Brissett goes out and has the game of his life against his ex-team, the New England Patriots. But I think the Washington Commanders come up short after 9 games. They're still 4 and 5 after 9. Not a bad record, but not a great record nonetheless.
Well, all right. Week 10. Going out to the Pacific Northwest to take on the Seattle Seahawks with that 12-man full throat. And I just don't see it. I don't. This
4-6.
I do not see. I do see the Seattle Seahawks just ripping through the
4-6.
Washington Commanders here in Week 10. Week 11, we discussed once again New York Giants. I think we both penciled in for L's here. For L here
4-7.
against the New York Giants. Thanksgiving, we were split on this one as well. I had picked them to win. Upset on Thanksgiving. You picked them for the L.
So 4-8.
Week 13, they will be hosting the Miami Dolphins. Week 13, and I just think once again there's too much offense for the Dolphins, and Washington's not going to have the ability to keep up offensively with this football team.
4-9.
The Dolphins win.
4-4.
And then here I was right. This is it. I believe this will be the last week for byes. The Washington Commanders finally get their bye week here in Week 14. That's a long stretch of football games to play before you finally have your bye. I think
Ron Rivera's fired.
And Commanders, Giants and Commanders it's gonna be rough for both of those two football teams with those late byes like that. But I think even more so for the Commanders because of their quarterback situation. Like that's going to be interesting. But Week 14 they have a bye. Week 15, going out to Los Angeles to take on the Rams, and I believe that they will get the job done out there. I just think the Rams. I just don't know. I see the Rams being very bad. I see the Rams potentially in the mix for a number 1 overall draft pick. To be honest, I honestly see the Rams. That's how I'm seeing the Rams right now. I just can't.
Well,
I don't know.
I don't know. They have a decent coach, but
they do.
I agree with you, but I still, Sean McVay is Sean McVay. So,
I mean, he is, and they still have some nice pieces on the football team. It's just that, oh man, this team really didn't do themselves any favors when they just traded all that draft capital, pretty much pushed all the chips in the middle of the table for that championship.
It worked.
Yeah, sure, they got the title, but it was a sacrifice, and that sacrifice was getting new, good, fresh, young talent in here. I mean, they haven't had a first-round pick in how many years now? It's been
now they'll have one.
It's been a very long time.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
First-round pick, so
maybe they have a fire sale and they trade Matthew Stafford at some point and Cooper Kupp and some of these guys. But I still think the Washington's going to win this game. But just because I think the Rams are going to be like a 4 or 5, 6 win team. I don't think they're going to go crazy. I don't necessarily think they're going to be the first overall pick, but because McVay has a way to win. I think
they could be in the mix for it. Yeah, I agree.
But I think they'll be in the top 10.
McVay is a good coach. Oh, they're definitely. I mean, I'd be stunned if they were picking outside the top 10 based off of their record. I'd be stunned. This team is not. I just don't see this team being very good. But Week 16. Week 16, the Washington Commanders will be going to a familiar place, except they will be taking on the other New York team, the New York Jets, up in MetLife Stadium. I think it's just, I think the Jets will be competing heavy for a playoff spot, and I think they're going to just beat the shit out of the Washington Commanders.
Beat the ever-living shit out of the Washington Commanders. I think they're gonna beat them up too. I don't think it's gonna be a contest. I really don't. I hope, for argument's sake, it's not a contest. But we'll see. The Jets are gonna need the game. I think, like you, I agree with them. I think they're gonna be in the wild card hunt. I don't know if they're gonna be in the division hunt, but either way, they're still gonna want to be in that race. And this is one of those games that can improve your record towards doing that. So I don't think they're gonna let it slip. So 5 and what are we at? Week 5 and 10 right now for the Redskins.
I can't even keep track of this. I have so many L's down here right now. I can't even know what to think right now with this team.
Oh God!
we get to week 17. We get to week 17, man, and wow, they'll be at home. But they'll be hosting the San Francisco 49ers, who, just like we just said about the Jets, may be very much in the mix. It may be a very important game for them.
5-11.
Maybe not so much for Washington, But yeah, I just don't see any. I don't see any hope here for them beating the 49ers, especially in a Week 17 matchup that may mean a lot to the 49ers. And then that leaves Week 18, which we discussed already with the Cowboys. I had them down for
That
an
makes
L. I'm pretty
them
sure you did
5 and
too.
12.
And I have them at 6-11, so I did give them six wins,
I
six and
have
11.
5 and 12. Complete disaster.
Wow.
And they fired their
Phew,
coach
yeah.
during the bye week.
And there y'all have it, man. That is the schedule breakdowns for all the four teams in NFC East, man. But this is once again, it's going to be a very, very good season, man.
It was a lot of
In the
fun.
NFC East. If you're a fan of NFC East football, it's going to be just as fun as it was a year ago. I don't think Washington. I think Washington is the only team that takes a step back. Honestly, I think. Well, the Cowboys take a small step back in my opinion, but I think they'll still be get a wild card spot and be a third team to make the playoffs. That's my opinion. Me and Adam are a little bit different here. Obviously, he has the Cowboys coming in second in the division, and I have them coming in third, and I have the Giants coming in second, as he has them coming in third as well. So, but I still believe that we're going to have three teams in the postseason because I think this division is just that damn good. And you have a division like the NFC South that's clearly only going to have one team. I mean, one team represent them in the playoffs unless something really bizarre happens. And I believe that. And then maybe it'll be some kind of a similar makeup to last year, where I feel like you got Seattle and San Fran out west. You got like Detroit and Minnesota probably going at it in the North, obviously. I think the NFC South is pretty much wide open for the New Orleans Saints to just kick that door down and win that division. I mean, I'm not saying
Right
they're
now
going
you
to
have
be some great
six
team.
teams there. So right now you have already 6 teams with one team going in left because you probably have the Eagles, right? So you have the division one Eagles.
I got
You have the Saints.
Eagles.
So you'd have the 49ers, right? And then who's the other division winner?
49ers. I think
Who am
Detroit
I
Lions
missing?
would be.
Okay, so Detroit Lions.
I think it'll be the Detroit. I think those are your division winners.
And so you're saying Seattle might be in there.
I think maybe Seattle might be.
Minnesota, do you have them close?
Now, like I said, I believe I have them in the mix as well. Yeah, definitely a team in the mix as well, obviously. And then, like I said, I mean, personally, like I said, I believe the Giants, Eagles, and Cowboys are all going to make the playoffs from the NFC East, which means between like pretty much Minnesota and Seattle, one of them ain't going to make it. That's right now. One of them is going to be on the outside looking in as far as how I see things right now. Which one? Not quite sure yet. Ain't put that much thought into it. I just do fully believe that we're going to see three teams once again from the NFC East in the postseason. And I think those will be the same three teams as last year: the Eagles, the Giants, and the Cowboys.
Well, I think that
I wouldn't be stunned to see another NFC East team in the Super Bowl again.
I'm going to say that it's going to be 2 NFC East teams go because you're going to have Seattle in the mix, you're going to have Minnesota in the mix, and then you're going to have the Giants in the mix. And I think with the 4 division winners already that we think, right, plus I believe the Cowboys are going to make it in. So that's my number. That's another one. Then you have Seattle making it in. And so now that's 6. And then there's one left between Minnesota and the Giants. So that's where I think it'll kind of rest is they have to keep up with the rest of the teams because I don't feel they're going to win the division. And I think you're going to need at least 11 games to get, be in there. If the Giants do, like you say, win 11 games, then maybe they'll be the 3rd seed from the NFC East. But I have a feeling there's going to be a lot more teams fighting for that last 7th spot.
Well, I mean, we'll see. Like I said, when I just look at the breakdowns of the divisions, I mean, we're not like you said. The NFC South, like I said, that's one team is making it out. That only the division winners making it to the playoffs from that division. That's going to be a terrible, terrible division.
Right.
All right. You look in the NFC West. Really, it's really Seattle and San Fran. You don't think much of Arizona or the Los Angeles Rams, right?
Okay, so you have 3 teams right now.
Remotely going to be in the mix for. for a postseason. And then in the same in the NFC North, like pretty much Detroit, Minnesota in that division. I don't see
Okay.
Green Bay or Chicago compete for a division title or even a
Well, they
playoff
could be in
spot
the
out of
mix
that
for a wild
division
card
this
spot, though.
season. I
So we're
mean,
putting them in
possibly,
the
but
mix for a while.
I don't see it.
Well, I
I don't
mean,
see it
three.
out of those two teams personally.
I'm
I'm
just
just
saying.
giving you who I think are even the legitimate contenders for the postseason at all in the NFC, and I think it's a shorter list than what we'll have in the AFC. I think it's a much shorter list in the NFC. I'm
Well,
just looking at the NFC East. You got the Eagles, Cowboys, Giants that I think will all legitimately be playoff contenders. You got in the NFC South, I think only New Orleans, unless Atlanta can kind of have some kind of surprise year. I think only New Orleans. I think and then in the North, Minnesota and Detroit, and in the West, Seattle and San Fran.
okay.
I
So,
just
like I
don't
said,
see any other teams being
well, but listen to
viable
the
contenders.
mathematics. If you do the two from the West, the two from the North that are, let's say,
The
fighting for
North,
playoff spots, right? And then you have the one from the South that's five. That leaves one of the teams in the NFC East out of it if these other teams are contending. And I do believe Minnesota is still going to contend for playoff spot, even if Detroit wins the division. So that means, in my scenario, the Giants have to also outplay Minnesota and all those other teams, those second teams like Seattle. That's why these games become crucial down the stretch, because that's where you'll be getting your last team in. Because it could go Cowboys, Eagles, it could go 49ers, Seattle. It could then go New Orleans, and then it could go what you call it, Detroit, Minnesota. Right. So now the Giants would be on the outside looking in that scenario. So all I'm saying is
well,
that
yeah,
you're not going to have the laundry list of teams that you're going to have. It's like you're the Jets. There's going to probably be three teams that end up 10-7 in that division or in that conference. So that, yes, at that point, I get it. You have the Chargers, you have the Pittsburgh Steelers, you have all these other teams that could
that's
possibly
what I
jump
mean.
in. I get it, but
In
I'm
the
just saying.
NFC, the contender pool for the playoffs is a lot smaller than the AFC. That's what I'm getting at. Like the AFC,
Right,
you can look through there and it's like, whoa.
right.
Like the AFC, like you just said, the AFC East, that's three legitimate teams there. Three, I mean, hell, all four of them, because you never can count the
Right.
Patriots
The
out.
Patriots.
That's all four
Right.
of them are, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then in the AFC North, you got Baltimore that expected to come back and bounce back and have
Pittsburgh.
a big year. Cincinnati, Pittsburgh is always
That's three
always
teams right there. That's
going
six.
to be in the mix. And then you go out to West. I think Denver's bouncing back this year. Kansas City, we already know what Kansas City is. The Los Angeles Chargers.
That's three teams there.
And I mean, I don't think the Raiders are going to necessarily be in the mix too much. And then you go down south, that's probably more or less just Jacksonville. As long as things they hold pat, that's probably only Jacksonville legitimately. I mean, I don't know what to expect from the Colts or the Titans,
Titans possibly. They still have the good coaching staff. They still will be a decent team. But all right,
that's
so
true.
we're talking about 10 teams possibly contending, or 11 teams possibly contending for 7 spots, right? As opposed to the NFC where it's like 9 teams competing for 7 spots, right? So we'll see what happens. This is why they play the games. This is why our schedules mean nothing. I think you got to look at it as the overall records. Like I said, I had the Commanders at 5-11. I had the Giants at 8-9. I have the Cowboys at I think 11-6, and then I had the Eagles at 13-4.
Well, and like Adam, I got the Eagles at 13-4 winning the division. I got the Giants at 11-6 coming second. I got the Cowboys at 9-8 in third, and I got the Washington Commanders at 6-11. And that's how I see the NFC shaping up as things stand today. I mean, a couple months from now, after training camp gets underway and maybe some guys get a little banged up, maybe opinions will change. But as of right
Yeah.
now, how it stands here on May the 12th, I feel like this is what I got right now. So
We'll see. A long way to
we're
go.
gonna get ready to wrap things up soon, man. Yeah, it was a long way to go. It's gonna be fun though. Like I said, the all season's gonna be fun. Like I said, I can't wait for New Year Giant training camp, man, to get underway. Because like I said, last year expectations were fairly low, and they exceeded expectations with, like I said, a roster that just didn't look like she should have been able to compete with most of the league. And they went out there and they competed for the most part, most weeks. They went out and competed. They won a playoff game. I think they've really upgraded the roster. I think they've added some major depth at some key spots like that defensive line. I think there's definitely some big time depth added there. I think we upgraded the linebackers a bit with the acquisition of Okereke. I think that's the guy that I think we're kind of almost somewhat forgetting about, that we actually acquired this guy and how good he actually is and the difference he also will make on his defense. Deontay Banks, I'm sure will have his growing pains. He's a rookie. No matter how talented he is coming out of college, he is still going to be a rookie, obviously, and he'll have his growing pains. But at the same time, if he can become the player that we believe him to be, I mean, I think it'll just be great for this defense as well. And I think the New York Giants are going to have a lot of good problems going into training camp when it comes down to evaluating the talent they got and deciding who they want to keep and who they want to get rid of. Guys, Joe Shane has no true ties to most of these players, man. This was only his second draft class. So, I know how much guys love the sentimental guys like the Sterling Shepards of the world, but look, at the end of the day, man, if he's not able to cut the mustard, don't be shocked. Just don't be shocked.
Even if he is, get rid of him anyways. So, like you have a young guy, you have like Brandon Wheaton, that guy, right? The West Virginia kid. If the West Virginia kid is playing well, and you have over Sterling Shepard, get rid of that guy. Get rid of Sterling Shepard.
I mean, it's a business, and that's what it comes down to, man. And like I was telling Adam on the phone earlier, like last season, the New York Giants did the massive cuts after training camp. You didn't see anybody beating down the doors for those guys we were releasing. Nobody wanted. Those guys are all unemployed. They never got jobs. They didn't get jobs again, bro. They're bagging groceries.
One player's on the team.
Yeah, none of those. They aren't. None of them are. They all cleared waivers, and none of them got picked up. Nobody had any interest in what the Giants cut. With the players the Giants cut a year ago.
And this
year, it's not going to be like that. This year, the New York Giants will be this season. There's going to be people lined up for some of these guys. People waiting on some of these cuts from the New York Giants this year because we're going to have some tough cuts. It's just what it is. So don't be all sensitive when it happens. Don't get all emotionally attached to these guys. Some of these guys, because guess what? Some of your favorite guys, man, they're going to get the axe. But look at it on the bright side. If you care about the player, you want to still follow them a little bit, a lot of them will still probably be in the league this year at least. It's just not going to be like last year where these guys got cut and that was their career's over. I think we got some guys. We got some guys this year that teams are going to have some interest in. So we're going to see how they comprise this team. Because look at all these wide receivers we've been talking about. But at the end of the day, we're only going to probably keep like 6, right? So
probably.
There's still going to be some decent guys getting cut, man. Running back room, probably only keeping like 3 of them.
Probably.
There's going to be some decent guys getting released.
How many they keep last year?
Man. So
they kept 3 last year. I think.
Running backs, we only carried 3 all season, I believe. Just Barkley, Breida, and Brightwell.
I mean, just think about what you said.
I don't think they carried a fullback last year, did they?
No, the entire league, 31 other teams did not even sniff a Giants player last year when they got cut. Did not even go, hey, you know what? Let's bring this guy in for a workout. None.
None of them. Got to look.
And there's 31 teams. You know how many players that is? Year. My God, not even one made it on a roster.
And to be honest.
Go ahead.
I don't know if they did. I don't know who they were. But and honestly, another just some of the guys we kept, you know what I mean, were guys that probably nobody else would have wanted anyway either. So that's how bad.
Richie James can't even find a job. Richie James can't even find a job. Arguably the best receiver on our team last year, and he can't find a job.
Oh no, he's in Kansas City. He's in Kansas City.
Back there? Wow.
He's in Kansas City, I believe.
He's going to be their number 1. Watch Mahomes make that guy great.
Mahomes makes everybody. That's what I mean about Patrick Mahomes, man. That's the special thing about Patrick Mahomes that makes him more special than every other quarterback in this league, man. Because it doesn't matter He's the guy that it truly doesn't matter who the hell he has out there. He's gonna make it work for sure, man. It's like that Tom Brady effect all over. Like we all know, Tom Brady didn't play with great receivers most of his career, other than them couple years with Randy Moss. I mean, you can say what you want about Wes Welker being like Pro Bowl guy for a few years with him too, but Wes Welker, come on, man, he wasn't anything when he played in Miami. He
right.
wasn't.
I mean, he was a
until
return man.
got with Tom Brady. Yeah, until he got with Tom Brady, he was a nobody. I mean,
And
look at
Peyton
all the
Manning.
other guys too, the Julian Edelmans, all them guys. Those are just average guys that Tom Brady made look great. And that Patrick
Right, they're
Mahomes
gonna
is
be
doing
in
a lot
the
of those similar
Patriots
things with the
Hall
guys in
of Fame.
Kansas City.
Right. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
Wes Welker.
That means
Wes
that's
Welker was a good
that.
player. If you want to say something about Wes
He
Welker,
was.
you could probably say this. You could probably say that he brought the slot position back to life, because before that, it wasn't really a
Yes.
slot position. It was a third wide receiver, right? You had just a third wide out on the field.
Yes.
With Wes Welker out there, you made an actual slot position where a guy was inside because of his size, and he really revolutionized, I believe, that position. You could argue with me and say somebody else did, but I think Wes Welker was the prototype of a slot receiver as we know them now, right?
I agree. Wes Welker definitely put prominence to the slot receiver position, man. I wasn't trying to slight Wes Welker. I should kind of make sure people know that. Not slighting what he accomplished. You know what I mean?
Think about what you just said. They had Troy Brown, right? Troy Brown in this day and age would probably be a slot receiver. They had Deion Branch. They had David Gibbons.
Absolutely.
They didn't really have the slot in that position. Even I guess you could say Aziz Hakeem wasn't really. They didn't call him the slot receiver. I guess they said he lined up in the slot every once in a while, but no one really made it a big position. It was you're a third wide receiver. No one made, oh, you're a slot guy, right? Wes Welker comes in, and they basically built an offense around a guy that's about 5'7".
Yeah, they did.
Kind of amazing.
And they made it work, and it was good. It was damn good. It was damn good. But yeah, those are just the vibes I get from Patrick Mahomes, man. I know he has Travis Kelce still, obviously a tight end, and that's he's a huge difference maker, obviously. But let's face it, man. Like his wide receivers a year ago weren't anything special about those guys, man. Juju Smith-Schuster to me, he's good, but he's not like the guy, So it just
right.
Patrick Mahomes has a way of just making it work, man. So it just we'll see, man. We'll see how everything plays out when it get close to the season. I'm excited for the rest of this offseason to play out and get the hell over with, so we can get to September and get some real football back on, man. Because that's what I'm waiting for. I want to see
the USFL's not doing it for you.
Is made of. It's definitely not. I want to see if Brian Dable can continue that magic that he instilled back in here in New York a year ago. I just want to see good old new NFC East football again, man, because last year it was great once again. So let's not have any letdowns. Let's keep it going, man. This is the best division in football to me, bar none. Not just talking about even currently right now. I'm just talking about in general in the history of the NFL. It's the best damn division in football. This right here, the NFC East, I believe my guy Michael Wilbon, what he used to refer to it as, the best damn division in sports. Because that's how competitive the NFC East has been in their history, man. So it's good to see great football being played in the NFC East, like I said. And they got rewarded with a lot of primetime games. Like I said, a lot of the national spotlight is going to be on the NFC East this year. So don't let us down. Don't let us down, fellas. Let's go out there, make it very competitive, and make it fun, man. And I look forward to it. You got any final thoughts, Adam, before we get up out of here?
No, man, I'm just waiting for training camp to kick off. It's going to be a fun summer, getting to that. And let's enjoy summer before we get to September. Can we do that first, please? But other than that, I'm looking forward to it, seeing what stories play out. Remember, we didn't think the Lions would be anything, and here they are. So I can't wait to see how these records come around. All right?
Yes, sir. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, man. And I'm not exactly sure when we'll be back for another edition. We're not going to be able to bring one to you next Wednesday. But we'll be back soon. I promise you. We'll definitely be back soon, covering some OTA stuff. By July, we'll be full swing each and every Wednesday when training camp's underway, starts getting underway and stuff like that. We'll be back full swing each and every Wednesday. But for now, we'll be a little sporadic for the next, month or so. But we'll see. I don't know. I can't say exactly for sure when we'll be back, but it'll definitely be back soon. And thank you all again for tuning in. Make sure y'all sub up to myself, Mac the Giants fan. Sub up to my guy, Adam Costas. Sub up to the Hardcore Sports Network. You know what I mean? And we're going to be bringing this to you, man. The real deal NFC East Round-Up, man. Breaking it all the way down. Hopefully somebody can dethrone these Philadelphia Eagles, preferably the New York Football Giants. So we want to see how it plays out, man. And once again, I can just say thank you, man, for coming out, man. Make sure y'all definitely hit that like button, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, all that good stuff. Ring that bell so you know when we're doing this, man. This dropping this NFC East Roundup, man. We're gonna be coming at y'all with the real deal stuff, man. Ain't gonna be just no bias. Ain't gonna be no bias spin, like you said. Right now, as you see, we both giving the Eagles the division because we understand that the Eagles are the cream of the crop. So until proven otherwise, so it ain't gonna be you're not gonna get that bias curve here. It's gonna be as real as we can come with it. Thank y'all for tuning in. It's y'all boy Mac the Giants fan. This is my guy Adam Costas.
See ya.
Peace. I'd like to thank you all for listening. If you was feeling this, please take time to subscribe and smack them likes. Feel free to drop a comment and let me know what you think. Don't forget to ring that bell so you know when I'm dropping new content. It's your boy, Mac the Giants fan. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at Mac the Giants fan. That's MacDa Giants fan.